Our first guest is the marketing director of Real Property Management Preferred. His name is Kevin Davidson. Kevin, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill. Happy New Year.
Here we are once again. It's been a while since you and I talked, so let's tell people about your company.
Thanks, Bill. Yes, it has been a little while since we talked. I am now with Real Property Management Preferred, owned and operated by Sean and Joni Wolfswinkel. The office is located up in the northwest part of town and between Houston, and we also operate in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Manage about 1,500 properties, single-family homes and multifamily, pretty much all over the city of Houston. Conroe down to Pearland, Katy all the way over to Baytown.
And I might add, you have been in the past in the property management world, in the broadcasting world yourself, with many shows under your belt. Here you are on our show today. First of all, we think about property management. You mentioned the amount of homes that your company is helping and serving all year long. There are so many homes in Houston, and there's so much real estate activity these days, and many people buy their home, and I hear it all the time. Then they say, well, I'm going to buy another home, but I'm going to rent this home out. And many times they do it themselves. And after knowing you and talking to you on previous shows, I am always concerned about that because doing it yourself is not, I don't think, such a good idea. Let's tell people the bullet points why you shouldn't do it yourself in this litigious world that we live in.
Yes, sir. It's from a standpoint of not doing it yourself is because there's all kinds of, number one, legal ramifications. You have to know fair housing laws. You have to know Texas property code. You have to know discrimination laws. Because if you don't know those things, you will and could get in trouble. The other thing is that do you want to deal with the phone ringing at 2 o'clock in the morning because the toilet is clogged up or a light bulb went out, something that's not necessarily needed to be addressed right away. And at the same time, if you hire a property management company like ours, you can handle the maintenance issues, you can handle the legal issues, you can handle putting the tenant in, screening for tenants. We have less than a 2% eviction rate on 1,500 properties, so we know how to find the right tenant. And at the same time, we can do the market research to make sure you're getting the right amount of money in rent for your property.
In fact, that's right. At the very beginning, everything revolves around having the right tenant. If you start out with a wrong tenant for whatever reason, your own interviewing process, your own background checks and things like that, you're off to a bad start, and that could be disaster. Let's tell people how you help people as far as that very important point of finding the right tenant that's going to pay the rent on time every time.
Yes. Well, the main thing that we do is we have an extensive screening process. It checks your background. It checks your rental history. It checks your credit. It checks your job. It checks all kinds of different things to make sure that you're going to fit the criteria of the way we manage properties and have tenants in our properties. At the same time, when you apply online for the property, the qualifications for renting with us are transparent. They're available. So if you know going in that you're not going to qualify, then why apply? But everything is transparent. Everything's right there, so everybody knows what they're getting into. And then at the same time, we have protection programs and guarantees for our owners to help them feel good about who we're putting in the property, because we are the ones that screen for the tenants, not the owner. So we have our tenant protection program, we have eviction protection program, and we have rental income assurance. So it all is kind of packaged up depending on the package deal you select with us, how much security you're going to have.
Let's say I have one home. Now, I know you have investors, people that have several homes, but let's say I have one home and I say, look, I want to rent this home out, and I want you to do everything, your best service that you do everything that you do, and all I want to do is collect a check and pay you every month. Yeah. Do you have a program like that? That's
our business model. Most of our clients are investors that may not even live in the city, the state, or the country, but that's exactly our business model. We're a full-service property management company, so we handle everything. So once we meet you and you sign the management agreement with us, you can basically just go buy more investment properties. You can go travel. You can do whatever you're going to do because we handle everything, and you don't have to worry about it at all.
Is it really that easy?
It is. If you hire us, it's that easy, yes.
Well, okay, so we leave it to you. I leave it to you to put the right person in there. You do the background check. I pay your fee, whatever that may be. Now, let's say you do that, and what happens if there is a problem? Let's go to the probably the worst problem is, let's say the person didn't pay the rent that you brought in. Does that ever happen? And if it does, what happens, let's say after 3 months, the third month, they're like, I'm not paying.
Like anything, realistically, is that going to happen? Yes. Very few and far between. Like I said earlier, 2% eviction rate on 1,500 properties. But you can feel rest assured with us, with our programs, like you said, all in on the investor, we have the tenant placement guarantee. If we put the tenant in the property, we're the ones that did the screening and placed them in there. If for whatever reason that they break the lease, we're going to release that property for you for free. Put another tenant in there absolutely free. If in the unlikely event we have to evict the tenant, we're going to, and you're on the eviction program, we're going to handle the eviction process for you, including the fees. And depending on what county you're on, $300 to $600 for fees. So those are two. And the last one is the rental income insurance. If for whatever reason, I mean, everybody has life events that may cause them challenges. They lose a job, COVID, medical, whatever. So we will reimburse you for the first 3 months of that event while the tenant's there trying to get their life back together. And then after the 3 months, we'll revert back to the eviction and things like that. So if you're all in, like you said, and you're on the full program, you've got everything, there's really no worries.
And going back to where we started, this is why you hire a professional.
Exactly.
Because if any one of these things that we just talked about happen for the novice, they can be in big trouble. Plus the fact, I'm going to guess that if I don't know, if I'm running the property myself and I don't know about all the laws because I do something else in my real life, and I go to the judge and I'm in an eviction or some other mishap or situation, and I go to the judge and say, well, I didn't know that was a law.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what I don't know.
The judges go, I feel sorry for you, but case dismissed.
Okay, there you go.
And the reason why you have to know these things is because, believe it or not, tenants, because of the internet, are very well educated on their rights. So the first time or the one time that the landlord does something that they don't like or they think is wrong, they're going to go online and research it. As soon as they find their answer, then you're done. So you have to be able to have the education to know the laws and the regulations and things like that, so you can prepare yourself. Because if you're right, if you get in front of a judge and you have 15 pages of documentation and proof, but you missed one dot on an I, the judge is going to dismiss the case every time.
I don't know is not a defense.
It's not a defense.
Well, good to know. Let the word go forth. But it is interesting that as we see real estate shows on TV, radios, and all, and everything, podcasts and so forth, there is something about the renting of your home, your personal home, that looks easy, and that's where the pitfalls potentially lie.
Yeah, well, it's because it's your personal home and you have an attachment to it. So, most investors, or I would say 95 to 98% of investors, they don't care about the same things that you or I or Mr. and Mrs. John Smith that are looking for a home to live into, to buy. Investors are all about numbers. Okay, so they don't care if what color the wall is. They don't care if the backyard has great landscaping. They don't. That doesn't matter to them.
It's all numbers.
It's all numbers. If the numbers when they purchase it match and they work out for them on the rental income, then they're going to jump on it.
Now here in Houston, they're the third largest, fourth largest city, whatever it may be. What is distinctive about your company? There's other property management companies out there, and of course, we've already talked about people trying to do it themselves. What's unique about yours, Kevin?
Well, what's unique about our company is that with the programs and the structures that we offer our investor clients, and anybody that is going to end up being a landlord and doesn't want to be, we've got your back. We handle everything for you. You get annual tax documents. You get monthly statements for everything that's going on in your property. And at the same time, if you're looking to get into more real estate investment properties, we can also help you with that as well.
I'm kind of guessing that if someone has that one home experience with you and it's going well, you're doing the heavy lifting, knowing about all the laws and things like that. I'm guessing every once in a while someone may say, man, this has been a nice experience. I'm going to get that second rental property or third. Does that happen?
Yeah, it happens more than you think, actually, Bill. I was actually visiting a potential client last week before the holiday. She has 17 rental properties.
What?
But she wanted to meet me and she wanted to learn about our company. And that exact scenario, she was going to let us try one or two when she's ready. And if it works out, then she'll hand over the whole rest of our portfolio to us.
Sounds like having 17 children.
Yeah, it's we gotta. People like to do business in this industry with people that they know, like, and trust. They got to know, like, and trust me. Once they do, they usually all in.
We're talking with Kevin Davidson, the marketing director with Real Property Management Preferred. Kevin, before we close out the segment, what else would you like people to know?
Well, they can find us on the internet at www.htownrpm.com, and they can reach me directly at 832-654-0527. If you have been thinking about having a property management company manage your property but we're apprehensive, give me a call. There is no cost, no charge for a consultation. I'll even buy you coffee.
And the number again is?
832-654-0527.
htownrpm.com.
Yes, sir.
Kevin Davidson, thank you so much for being on the show.
Not a problem. Thanks, Bill.